a top 25. Every coaster enthusiast some way or somehow has made a list of their favorite coasters that they have ridden. From the 300-foot Gigas to the 150-foot RMCs, everybody has their favorite coaster, and that could always come with any reason. Everyone has their own judgment, as that is what I'll be doing in today's video, my ranking of the top 25 coasters that I have ridden. But most importantly, before we start, if you're new to the channel, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more videos on coasters often, as it really helps the channel out tremendously. Also, if you want to see more, make sure to look at the link in the description where you can see all of the Coaster Thrills social media accounts, including Instagram for updates and much more. But first, let's begin with a disclaimer. And that is that this list is based on my opinions and my opinions only, so any ride that you may rank in one spot is going to be different than my rankings. My list in no way is the ranking that everybody has. Once again, everybody has their own ranking to their favorite coasters, which is truly just a great thing. And also, I would like to mention some coasters that just barely didn't make the list, such as Phantom's Revenge, Lightning Run, and Afterburn, which obviously I still love these coasters, but they barely missed the cut. To start off this list, taking the number 25 spot is Thunderhead, located at Dollywood in Pigeon Forge, Tennessee. Being one of my favorite GCIs, this coaster packs in a great blend of the things the GCI does exceptionally, such as those great airtime pops, intensity, and the overall out of control feeling. As this ride keeps being retracked section by section, it gets smoother and smoother every year, which is a substantial factor to why this coaster has jumped up a great ways in my rankings. At the number 24 spot, we have for sure a controversial opinion. This is El Toro, located at Six Flags Great Adventure in Jackson, New Jersey. Now don't go click off the video just yet. I know to many people El Toro is one of their favorite coasters, but to me, this coaster is just not as good as some people really hype it up to be. Just to show you how much this coaster has moved, it was at my 4th spot last year, but after my re-rides this past summer, it really was not as good as I remembered, even if I rode it only 2 summers prior. Though it may have those 4 great elements such as the drop, 2 camelbacks, and Rolling Thunder Hill, those are about as good as any fantastic airtime moment you could find on a standard, for example, RMC. Just adding to the fact that the rest of El Toro is just bland and quite bumpy, the ride has moved down a ton of spots, even though it is still a great ride, just making my top 25. But coming in just above El Toro is ORION, located at Kings Island in Mason, Ohio, a great B&M Giga coaster. What really puts this coaster this high is the overall experience that is breathtaking from start to finish, not to mention all of the great elements that are on this thing. You have that fantastic drop, so many quality airtime moments, Orion's belt, and as I said, just the overall experience that places this coaster as one of my favorite Gigas out there. Time Traveler is a mock spinning coaster taking the number 22 spot, a coaster that was the first of its kind to include 3 inversions. A huge factor to why this coaster is so good is that this coaster has one of the most insane elements you will ever get to experience. That is the drop right out of the station, pure madness. Mainly in that very back seat, you will get pulled down like you'll never go back. It is simply one of the best elements ever created. Also, with this ride having a super fun rest of the layout, such as the quality inversions, it just adds to the case of this coaster being one of, if not the best spinning coaster in the world. The other coaster Silver Dollar City that makes this list is Outlaw Run, the first ever wooden coaster built by RMC, barely beating out Time Traveler. This coaster is tucked out in the woods in the back of the park, and it makes great use of the terrain that is provided, especially with those 3 great inversions and solid RMC airtime. It is a short ride, but that just means that the pacing is exceptional as you just fly through the entire layout into the brakes, truly a thrilling experience. Another of many more RMCs to come is taking the 20th spot, that is Wicked Cyclone, located at Six Flags New England in Agawam, Massachusetts. It is a pretty standard RMC, but since RMC is such a fantastic manufacturer, Wicked Cyclone will still wow you on how great the coaster is, especially from the abundance of airtime moments and fantastic conversions. Though it may be more sluggish towards the end of the ride, at least when I rode it in the summer of 2018, this coaster nevertheless is an awesome ride for the New England region of America. Taking the number 19 spot is a not as well known Woody. This is Ravine Flyer 2, located at Waldameer in Erie, Pennsylvania. This gravity group wooden coaster is situated right along the side of a hill, and let me tell you that it uses that to its advantage, as it is packed with a ton of fantastic moments. From all of the wild airtime, views, intensity, and pacing, this coaster packs a major punch in that layout and is for sure a great number coaster at Waldameer. Just barely edging out Ravine Flyer 2 is another wooden coaster, but this one made by GCI, Mystic Timbers. This coaster really does have everything you'd want in a great wooden coaster, from the out of control feeling, airtime smoothness, in which this is probably the smoothest wooden coaster I've ever ridden. It really does have it all. Though the shed may be a little disappointing, you still gotta acknowledge that it is better than just a normal brake run. MAKO, the first of two B&M hypers to make this list, is taking the number 17 spot, and for it being at my home park, I absolutely love this thing. I have ridden it so many times, and over the past years, I've just come to appreciate on how good this coaster is. I mean, look at it, it's just so smooth, so comfortable, the setting is great, and of course, there is that world-class lifter airtime. Obviously, there's that 5-second hill pretty much every lifter airtime moment delivers, one exception being the Nitro Hill. For sure, a world-class experience, and will be that for years to come, as the other B&M hyper on this list will be taking the number 16 spot, that is CANDYMONIUM, located at Hershey Park in Hershey, Pennsylvania. Yes, this does just barely edge out MAKO because, in my opinion, the coaster delivers on everything as good as the other, even just a little better though. You of course have that great drop, lots of excellent lifter airtime, a fantastic outer bank turn that MAKO does not have, and even a solid turn around that stunning center fountain. Just in my opinion, this does all of the elements a little better than MAKO, which is why it is a spot above, making it my favorite B&M hypercoaster. Another RMC is Twisted Cyclone, taking the number 15 spot, located at Six Flags Over Georgia in Austell, Georgia. Though it may be short, this coaster for sure packs in a big punch, and the small structure provided filled with tons of fantastic RMC airtime, some super fun inversions, and that super smooth RMC experience. Backseat is the way to go on this coaster, as on every element you get ejected out of your seat, especially on that drop, one of the best elements in the whole state of Georgia. Even if it's not the best RMC, this coaster sure is a heck of a ride. Why it is this high in my rankings, but what is just a little better than it, that is SKYRUSH, another coaster located at Hershey Park. This crazy intimate hypercoaster is a compact mess of track filled with a ton of fantastic ejector airtime. It truly feels out of control. You start the ride with a bang, going up probably the quickest lift hill I've ever experienced, and then go into that rest of that layout, including that fantastic drop, which is insane in the back row. The only con some people may say is that the restraints are uncomfortable, going to the name Thigh Crush, but I actually like these restraints. Of course, they are very minimal, leading to an even better ride experience. Another reason to why this coaster is just so good. Maverick is at the number 13 spot, a top-notch intimate blitz coaster located at America's rock and roller coaster, Cedar Point. This coaster really does have everything you would want, such as rapid transitions, intensity, a great launch, some stellar inversions, a fantastic drop, even a great airtime hill. For me, this coaster has always been a favorite of mine, especially on those night rides that are super underrated as you just feel like you are flying through that layout. This coaster is another example of packing in a big punch, the exact same with these two clones taking the number 12 spot. These are the RMC Raptor clones. I do barely prefer Railblazer to Wonder Woman, but these two clones are pure insanity. The layout that is packed into that super small space is remarkable. You have that airtime, which is absolute madness, especially that crazy twisted airtime hills dive right after the helix, and of course that 90-degree drop. This coaster is one of the most intense rides you will ever get to experience. It is so whippy and those wild transitions, and of course the pacing is as good as it can ever get. It's going to be fantastic when Stunt Pilot opens at Silverwood, as this clone might just be the best clone ever created. Located on the waters of southern Texas is Boardwalk Bullet, a Kemah boardwalk in Kemah, Texas. This gravity group woody is filled with a ton of great airtime, some fantastic pacing, and an incredible drop, and that location sitting right next to the water is absolutely breathtaking. When I rode it this past summer, I was just so impressed on how much this coaster packs in it to that space provided. What a great experience, and it is truly an impressive creation. But just before we crack the top 10, I would really appreciate it if you would smash the like button, as it truly helps the channel out tremendously. Also, while you're at it, hitting the subscribe button would also support the channel out a lot, allowing me to make more videos just like these. GHOSTRIDER will be taking the number 10 spot, another fantastic wooden coaster, this being located at Knott's Berry Farm. After every single ride, GHOSTRIDER will never disappoint as you speed through that incredible GCI improved layout. Truly, GCI did wonders for this ride. It was once a CCI, but after many years, GCI came in and retracted it to the way it is today, and let me tell you, this coaster is an incredible experience. Especially during a sunset or night ride, you are going to fly through that spectacular layout filled with tons of smooth airtime, laterals, and so much more. It is a long ride and for sure one of the best coasters in all of California, even the world, as just beating out GHOSTRIDER is another Californian coaster. This is Twisted Colossus. Out of all of the RMCs I have ridden, this was one of the first ones I rode right when it opened in 2015, and I just gotta say, this coaster is a world-class ride, no matter if it's dueling or not. The airtime is spectacular like any other RMC. That dueling aspect is so fun when the ops are actually quick enough, but even if they aren't, you will still experience a fantastic ride. Storm Chaser will take the number 8 spot, yes, another RMC to make this list, and let me tell you that it's not the last one, but this one being located at Kentucky Kingdom. This coaster is the definition of packing a huge punch from start to finish, as you'll get thrown around all over the place, something RMC does beautifully. Every single element is so strong, from those insane airtime moments, great inversions, and so much more. Storm Chaser packs in a remarkable ride and it will have you speechless. But just barely beating out Storm Chaser is the best operating wooden coaster that I have ridden. That is the Voyage, located at Holiday World in Santa Claus, Indiana. The only time that I ever rode this thing was in the summer of 2019, but this coaster will not leave you disappointed, as it is a voyage of an experience. The pacing is relentless from beginning to end. It never lets up through that entire layout. The airtime is so absolutely crazy. There is so much of it. Some people even rank this as the favorite coaster that they have ridden, and I don't blame them. This coaster is one of the best rides you will ever get to experience, and I can't wait to ride it once again in the near future. Intimidator 305 is the coaster that will take the number 6 spot, a crazy intense, intimate masterpiece being located at King's Dominion in Doswell, Virginia. And don't even get me started on how intense this coaster is. It's probably the most intense ride you will ever get to experience, from those amazing rapid transitions, low to the ground elements, and even some decent airtime. You start off this ride by skyrocketing up so high in the air, then the rest of the ride is just so low to the ground, filled with crazy turns and intensity. It is just a wild coaster experience. But as we hit the top 5, we have another RMC that is the best coaster in all of Texas, Iron Rattler, located at Six Flags Fiesta, Texas. This coaster features some out of this world elements such as that insane drop, the dive off the quarry wall. Pretty much all of these elements that interact with the quarry wall are so good as they turn this ride to be one of the best out there. Some people may say that it's overrated, but let me tell you, that is not the case at all. This is a coaster where you don't realize how good it is until you actually get on it. A truly phenomenal coaster. Now taking the number 4 spot, we have the best B&M coaster out there. This is, of course, Fury 325, located at Carowinds. As I say all the time, Fury really does have everything you could possibly want in a coaster, such as the height, speed, length, airtime, intensity, smoothness, and so much more. This coaster is just a masterpiece. From that incredible drop that you just fly down, the turn over the entrance, the treble clef, dive under the bridge, this coaster has it all, even looking absolutely stunning, which is why it is taking my number 4 spot. Kicking off the top 3, we have one of the best RMCs out there, no joke. This is Twisted Timbers, located at King's Dominion in Doswell, Virginia, of course. At first thought, you would not think that this coaster would be this high, but absolutely, I love this ride so much, and there is a good reason to why I love this coaster so much, because Twisted Timbers is insane. From the almost unbeatable airtime, mainly on those 3 back-to-back hills, that is one of the best sequences on any coaster. This experience is just packed with so much airtime. The inversions are so good, especially on that barrel roll drop, a great way to kick off this coaster, and just the experience overall is just so fitting for a park like King's Dominion. This is one of RMC's most underrated creations, and I have no doubt in my mind that this coaster is good enough to be my number 3rd ride I have ever ridden. But taking the number 2 spot, we have, of course, Lightning Rod, located at Dollywood in Pigeon Forge, Tennessee. Just a couple months ago, this ride got RMC'd from being an RMC'd, and I just got to ride it, and in no way did this change from how good this coaster is, from being one of the best out there. Don't even get me started on how unbelievable a ride on Lightning Rod is, from the fantastic launch of the mountain to the brakes. This is one heck of a coaster experience. Every single element that you will find on Lightning Rod is out of this world. Nothing at all disappoints in the slightest, but especially on that quad down, wave turn, and so much more. This coaster uses the terrain like nothing else, and no matter what, this ride will always have a special place in my heart, as every ride will leave you sitting in those seats thinking, what just happened? This ride is just so phenomenal. But without a doubt, the coaster taking my number 1 spot is, of course, the one, the only Steel Vengeance, located at Cedar Point, America's Rock and Roller Coast. What else could end a great list than Steel Vengeance taking the number 1 spot? Truly, this coaster is one of, if not the best coasters on Earth, depending who you're asking. Steel Vengeance really solidified itself even more as my favorite coaster. After my 2020 rides this past summer, it was hauling so fast through every single one of those insane world-class elements. And it's jam-packed with so many of those fantastic elements, such as the great airtime moments, phenomenal inversions, probably the best on any RMC. It's super smooth, and the pacing is, of course, fantastic. You never stop speeding through that incredible layout. Once again, the pacing on this thing is absolutely insane from start to finish. This coaster is truly a ride that you will never forget, and my favorite coaster that I have ridden. But that is going to end my top 25 coasters that I have ridden, and really, every single ride that made this list was an incredible ride without a doubt. So don't be upset if any of my rankings are different than yours, because this is just my opinion, opinion, and everybody's opinions are different. So, what do you think of this list? Make sure to post that in the comments below. I read every comment, love what you guys have to say. And of course, if you are not already, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more videos on coasters often. And see ya!